Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood, and today we're going to be learning a bit about television. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell truth from fiction. Developing TV technology was serious business and a lot of hard work, but there was still room for some fun. Would you believe that the first images ever transmitted were of a statue of a cat the inventors got from a local toy store? What do you think? Is this an actual fact or too good to be true? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is kinescope. Kinescope. A kinescope is a recording of a television program made by filming the picture from a video monitor. Before the invention of videotape, this was the only way to preserve and rebroadcast live television shows. Imagine you're a television producer in the 1950s. Your show is broadcast live, but people on the other side of the country are in a different time zone. How do they see it? You point a special film camera at a high-quality television monitor and record the show as it airs. This film, called a kinescope, could then be shipped to other stations to be broadcast later. The quality wasn't perfect, it often looked a bit fuzzy or washed out, but it was a revolutionary technology that allowed classic shows from the golden age of television, like I Love Lucy and The Honeymooners, to be saved for future generations to enjoy. The word kinescope comes from the Greek kine, K-I-N-E, meaning movement, and skopos, meaning to view or watch. So, a kinescope allows you to watch the movement on your television screen. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about television. Number 1. The first TV remote control was attached to the television by a long cord. The freedom to change channels from anywhere in the room didn't come right away. In 1950, the company Zenith released the very first TV remote, which they called the Lazy Bones. It was a simple device that could turn the TV on and off and change the channels, but it had to be connected to the television set by a bulky cable that snaked across the living room floor. People loved the convenience, but they complained about the cumbersome cord as a tripping hazard. This led the inventor Eugene Pauly to create the first wireless remote, the Flashmatic, just 5 years later in 1955. It worked by shining a beam of light at photosensors in the corners of the TV screen, which was a brilliant idea, but it did have some problems as sunlight or other bright lights in the room could accidentally change the channel. This eventually led to the ultrasonic, sound-based remotes that clicked, and finally, the infrared remotes we use today. Number 2. It took nearly 2 decades for color TVs to become more popular than black and white sets. While we think of color television as an invention in the 1960s, the first national color broadcast in the United States actually happened all the way back in 1954. It was the Tournament of Roses parade, but very few people could watch it in color. Early color television sets were incredibly expensive, sometimes costing as much as a new car, and there were very few programs being broadcast in color. Because of the high cost and limited programming, most families stuck with their reliable black and white sets for years. It wasn't until the mid-1960s that the big 3 networks, NBC, CBS, and ABC, started broadcasting most of their primetime shows in color. Now, as long as I'm talking about the innovations with TV and color television, I have to take the opportunity to nerd out with some little bonus facts about how our TVs work. Now, first of all, television doesn't actually show moving pictures. It tricks your brain into seeing motion by flashing a series of still images very quickly. The process works because of a biological phenomenon called persistence of vision. Your eyes and brain retain an image for a tiny fraction of a second, about 1/25th of a second, after an image has disappeared. Television technology takes advantage of this slight delay. The screen is actually a very rapid fire slideshow presenting one static frame after another. Because each new frame appears before your brain has let go of the last one, it automatically blends them together, creating the seamless illusion of fluid motion. The speed of these images is called the frame rate, measured in frames per second or FPS. So you might see that listing on your cameras. The standard for television in North America is 30 frames per second, while movies are traditionally filmed at 24 frames per second. Modern high-definition broadcasts and video games often use actually 60 frames per second or even higher to create an even smoother and more lifelike sense of motion. And just one more bonus fun fact about how these images are made. Although we can see like millions of colors on the screen, it's all actually made up by mixing just 3 primary colors of light: red, green, and blue. We often hear the traditional primary colors as red, yellow, and blue, but our screens use an additive color model, mixing different colors of light together. And in the additive model, the primaries are actually red, green, and blue. If you could look at your television screen with a powerful magnifying glass, you would see the entire picture is made of a grid of millions of tiny dots called pixels. Each individual pixel is actually composed of 3 even smaller elements called subpixels, one that shines red light, one green, and one blue. The TV's internal computer can precisely control the brightness of each of these 3 subpixels independently. By varying the intensity of the red, green, and blue light within a single pixel, it can mix them together to create a palette of millions of distinct colors. Now, number 3. The country of Bhutan didn't have television until 1999. The small Himalayan kingdom of Bhutan has always been very careful about preserving its unique culture and traditions. For decades, the government chose to keep foreign influences, including television and the internet, out of the country to protect its way of life. For most of the 20th century, the only way to get news or entertainment was through radio or newspapers. That all changed in June of 1999. As part of a celebration for the king's silver jubilee, the government lifted the ban and launched the country's first ever television station, the Bhutan Broadcasting Service. The arrival of TV was a massive event, and suddenly the people of Bhutan were introduced to a whole new world of information and entertainment, including global news, sports like the World Cup, and American cartoons and wrestling shows. Number 4. The world's first television commercial was only 10 seconds long, and it cost just $9. On July 1st, 1941, during a baseball game between the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Philadelphia Phillies, television history was made. The watch company, Belova, aired the very first legal TV ad. The commercial was incredibly simple. It showed a picture of a Belova watch superimposed over a map of the United States, with a voice simply saying, "America runs on Belova time." The ad was broadcast on a New York station called WNBT and was seen by a few thousand people, as there weren't that many television sets at the time. The total cost to the company was just $9, $4 for the airtime, and $5 for station fees. And our 5th and final fun fact for today, the longest running television drama of all time was on the air for over 72 years, and it actually even predated television. The American show Guiding Light holds the Guinness World Record for the longest running drama in television history. What's even more amazing is that the story began long before TV was even invented. The show first premiered as a 15-minute radio serial in 1937. It was so popular that it successfully made the jump from radio to television in 1952, with many of the same actors reprising their roles. For decades, Guiding Light was a staple of daytime television, telling the interconnected stories of families in the fictional city of Springfield. The show produced an astonishing 15,762 television episodes before it finally aired its last show in 2009. Combining its radio and TV runs, the program was produced for over 72 years. Now for some news you can use. Here's a simple trick to make your TV look better while you're watching movies. Turn off the motion smoothing setting. This setting often goes by different names depending on the TV brand. It might be called Auto Motion Plus, True Motion, or Motion Flow. It's designed to reduce motion blur, which can be good for fast-paced sports, but it does this by digitally adding extra frames into the picture. For movies and TV shows, this creates an unnatural, ultra-smooth look that filmmakers call the soap opera effect, because it makes carefully shot films look like they were recorded on cheap video cameras for daytime drama. Directors and actors often suggest that people turn off the setting because it completely changes the artistic look and feel they worked so hard to create. So dig into your TV's picture settings, find that motion smoothing option, and turn it off. Your movie nights will look much more cinematic and more true to the creator's intention. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if it's true that the very first TV broadcast showed a little bit of a playful side, as engineers had the camera just fixed on a doll they got from a local toy store. Well, that's a fact. In 1928, engineers at RCA were testing their early television broadcasting equipment. They needed an image to transmit that had good contrast and simple, recognizable features. A person sitting still for hours under hot lights wouldn't work, so they went to a toy store and bought a 13-inch papier-mâché statue of Felix the cat. They placed the black and white cat on a spinning turntable and pointed their experimental camera at it, broadcasting the fuzzy 60-line resolution image to the few receivers they had in the New York area. For hours each day, months on end, this Felix the Cat doll was the star of the show, helping engineers fine-tune the technology that would one day bring moving pictures into all our homes. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about TV with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.